Welcome to the Trail Blood Podcast. I'm your host, Christian Dior Creasy.
I'm Lionel Chapman. Ira Childs.
In today's episode, we have filmmaker Omar Moore, who's the creator, writer, producer of the hit horror TV series on Tubi called EDYH. So, Omar, welcome.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
What up?
Welcome to the show,
Welcome,
Omar.
welcome.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. So EDYH, man. So before we get into EDYH, let's take it back. When was your love for filmmaking and horror films started?
Oh, now you're gonna date me, man. Everybody's about how old I am. My love for horror movies started, I can tell you the exact moment it started. It was 1979. I was in a movie theater. My mom took me and my two cousins to see this movie called Prophecy. It was about this hairless bear. It's one of the dumbest movies in the world you ever gonna see. If you watch it now, it doesn't hold up. But for me, that was the scariest movie I've ever seen in my life. This hairless bear jumped out. I'm 6 years old at the time. I throw my popcorn in the air. It hit somebody behind me. They want to get a fight with me. My mom jumps up and start fighting them. It's a big old thing going on. Mom had up my back. But I'm fascinated with horror movies from that point forward, and I've been chasing that rush ever since. So since 1979, I love a fan of horror movies, man.
Nice.
And I learned in 1979 too. Though Mom got my back, so don't mess with her. She'll throw hands.
I'm pretty sure your mom put that dude on his back, right?
She wasn't playing around, man. She wasn't trying to have it.
Nice.
I loved your actresses that played Tara, Corinne Clay and Myra Hooks, man. They did a great job.
Yeah, shout out to both Corinne and Maya. They're excellent, phenomenal talents. They made my job super easy. Corey, as we call it, she always comes ready, prepared. She's done a lot of stuff for us. Maya, funny thing about Maya is that I did not know Maya could cry on demand. So the first time she cried, I freaked out and stopped everything, thinking something was wrong. Like, what's the matter? Are you okay? You told me to cry. Like, well, nobody told me you could do that. So she did it again. But they're just both talented people. They work so hard on the project, and I want to give them a shout out. And also, before we go too far, I want to give a shout out to my partner, Jay Davis, who actually wrote the story for us. So I didn't write, I think I directed it and all that and produced it, but he did write it. So shout out to Jay for doing that as well. But yeah, Corey and Maya, they were both just phenomenal talents. And Corey and I had a lot of conversations about the character of Tara and what the motivations were, how he wanted to act, and just talking to her, she would deliver every time. So I had a lot of fun working with Corey.
Cool.
Nice.
Ooh,
Well, let's talk about EDYH. Well, because we saw it, man. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you guys, being horror directors yourselves. So I appreciate your work, and I've been kind of eager to get out and sit down with you guys and talk about it. So if you guys like it, that means we're doing something right. So I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, we
No
did.
problem.
What was the idea? What was this? The whole creative idea behind EDYH, or the inspiration for the
Well, it kind of
story?
started as just a one-off short. We were working on something else at the time. We were gonna do a series for that, but Jay came to me after the deal of doing this, and I liked it because it had the classic horror elements to it, but it also had a different spin on those horror elements and a different take on just like the human experience, the Black experience, the everyday experience, how that worked. So we shot that when we put it out for a while that it tested for, and the response for that was overwhelming. So we said, hey, let's keep it going. Let's keep going. Let's keep doing it. So we went from having that one to then having the 4 episodes that you see now on Tubi. And each one we just kind of build on the mythos, bring more of the horror elements into it, and then bring in more, current events without, trying to be somebody over here with what's going on.
Nice.
Nice.
I mean, you have some locals that I recognize that I work with in there.
Yeah.
You had Chantelli.
Tully is dope. I love Tully, man. She's always fun to work with. Tully is another person that can cry on demand, which I didn't know about at the time. But Tully is so versatile. I think a lot of people know her from comedy or other stuff like that. But she can do so much. She can do serious comedy, drama, horror. You pick a genre, she can nail it. So I love working with her. Shout out to you, Tully.
Yeah, she can. And you had Anita
Yeah,
Brown.
shout out to Anita.
Anita Nicole Brown.
Anita,
Yeah.
who did her own stunts, whether we wanted her to or not. I appreciate her for that. She was
Anita's a rock
hardcore.
star.
I didn't think she was going to actually do that, but she was enthusiastic about it and excited. She delivered every time, so she was a lot of fun to work with. She was great.
Shout out to Anita.
Yes.
Anita, yeah. You had Christopher Gere and you had David Walker.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
oh,
both of those guys.
Chi-Town
They
most-
just fun. They just fun people, man. They real cool, laid back, smooth dudes, just easy to work with, and they're a lot of fun, and they deliver all the time.
Yeah, and Jado.
Funny thing about Jado is you might not see, we call him Barbie, but he is in literally every episode. Whether he's behind the scenes, as an extra, or he's on the front of the camera, but in every single scene. I don't want to spoil the movie, but there's part in the episode where you can't see some person, and that's still him. So he's done everything for us. So we love Barbie. He's like the everyman. So shout out to him.
Nice, man.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil everything, but man, when I see Jada, I'm like, bro, you supposed to run.
Shout out to Jay Allen, man. Yeah, that was fun. That's one of them things, having that, having the moment like, why is he not doing that? We see our movies, our people, we always yelling at the screen and having that, no way, why you not doing that? We kind of wanted to have that moment so people can buy into that, because that's fun for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a thin line between being fun and then being stupid. Like my wife is like, I hate horror movies, they always stupid. But then she looks at the movie, she's hard yelling at the screen and all that. So we want to have that moment without it being actually stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it also lets you know that your audience is engaged in what you got going on because they
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
So, do you have any more episodes on the way?
So yes, we are actually right now we're producing a horror anthology.
Okay.
So we're gonna hopefully get that done before the summer, and then we have another TV show that's actually on Tubi, a comedy show called Creative Hustle.
Nice.
Great.
That has 6 episodes. So once we finish that, we're doing both the second season of Creative Hustle and the second season of EDYH.
Okay.
Sweet.
Probably shooting those back to back. So hopefully at the end of the year, early 2024, we'll have something for you guys.
Nice, man.
Sweet.
Looking forward to that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. What I was gonna ask, it slipped my mind now. What was the experience like shooting EDYH? Like any crazy or things happened during filming or?
You know what? It was so many crazy things, some of which I can't say on the screen because it's probably a family show. And I want you but it was a great experience because a lot of those guys that I worked with, I had either never directed them directly before or I worked with them on this comedy thing before. Never worked with them on horror. So to see their ability to shift gears and just deliver what they delivered, it was amazing, particularly Chantelli and Corey, because usually when I work with them, it was something comedy driven or just, I'm just kind of there while they're doing their own thing. But to work with them and see the performances that they gave me, that was a lot of fun. And then just working with the special effects. The special effects is a lot of work. Well, a lot of work, especially in horror. So we had to do a lot of that. So shout out to both Brazil and Cassie. They did our special effects for us. Working with that was a lot of fun. A lot of late nights doing this kind of stuff, because the thing about horror is, for the most part, horror happens at night. So having people come in working at night times and doing that kind of stuff, that was a lot of fun. Just the whole experience, we got to travel a lot and do his. My guy Jay called me right now, so I'm calling back and run the podcast. But just having that experience and just being working with all the talent that we had, the extras that came in, it's a lot of fun working on that, going to different sets, and then coming up with creative ways to kill people. That was the fun part, because sometimes we had some kills in the script that we said, you know what, let's do something different. Let's do something a little more surprising, people wouldn't expect. So we have a couple of kills in there that I don't think people would expect to happen the way that they happen. So that was a lot of fun coming up with that. Then coming up with the props to pull off those kills was a lot of fun. I say it that way. Yeah. So the experience was cool. A lot of fun. People working with it. Like I said, we started the first one in 2021. We didn't work on the other one again until almost a year later before we started finishing. So it took us over a year to do it, but the first one was done. The second, third, and fourth one was done in about a 3-month period.
Oh,
We did like one per month. Yeah, but the first one was done like a year before that. So we worked really hard and fast to get the last 3 done.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
and you mentioned the special effects. I mean, the special effects was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah,
What was the
that was a lot of
inspiration?
fun. We had a combination of practical effects and some digital effects. And practical effects team again, Cassie and Brazil were phenomenal. They did things that pretty much whatever I threw at Brazil, she was like, all right, let's do it, and we did it. You know what I'm saying? And then Cassie was there filling in whenever Brazil couldn't be there, and we just had some pretty cool stuff going on. So I felt that I can get more creative and doing more things because I had them to help put off. So that's a good fun place for a director to be, especially in indie films. You guys know a lot of times we're limited
Yeah.
by our budget and people's skill sets. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
what's the best we can get for the money? You're pretty good, but you only do so much. So I was fortunate enough to have some people that were pretty good that we can actually afford to use. So that was a good thing. And they worked with us on the budget. They was like, hey, look, we can do it, but you got to pay for X, Y, and Z to get it done. So shout out to them for being so understanding and giving us, a quality product for the money.
Nice.
Nice. You was gonna ask something?
What was the inspiration behind your main character's special effects makeup?
Tara. So again, without giving away too much, I'm a big fan of the classic horror movies, Universal old school horror movies and all that. And the thing about Tara is she had the dichotomy about her. So she's fighting her two selves. And I'm also, I went to college, I studied psychology and all that. So I'm a big fan of, ego, super ego, and all that kind of stuff. And just fighting with your inner demons and having that acceptance of yourself. So I talked to Tara a lot about having that dichotomy of, who you want the world to see you as, who you are really, and where that come in between, and who you want to be. So the motivation for that was that having that fight with yourself to be the person that you want to be versus everybody else seeing you versus your actual temperament, inner nature, and then tying that into the old school monster movies back in the day that I fell in love with, like the Invisible Man, the Wolf Man, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. All that kind of cool stuff that we loved as a kid growing up, to bring that kind of stuff into this situation as well. So
Yeah, I noticed that too. Right. And EDYH too. I'm like, oh, it's a lot of universal horror themes.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that stuff, and I wish that Dark Universe thing they tried to do worked out, but it didn't. It failed miserably. But this is our kind of way of saying, hey, this is our homage to that period, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean? Yeah.
If you have to rank them, where be your top Universal horror films if you would put them in rank?
Oh wow, that's a good question. My personal favorites are the original Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. There were two of them made like 10 years apart. The second one I didn't like much at all, but the first one I liked a whole lot. It was some of the special effects they did in that. I don't know how they pulled off in 1936 or something like that. They did it. It was impressive. It was just amazing. They did it again in the 40s. I didn't really like how they did with that. But I really loved it. I loved how physical that character was and how acrobatic he was for that time. Back then they were doing their own stunts. And then I see the second one will probably be a tie between the Invisible Man and Frankenstein. And people you think about, Dracula will probably be the one, but I think Dracula's everyone's giving. But I think the acting from way back then was weird. For Frankenstein was amazing. Dr. Frankenstein was a phenomenal actor and all that. And then the Invisible Man, his descent into psychosis was crazy. He went batshit. You know what I'm saying? People look at that. So I kind of like that. And kind of the Invisible Man kind of spoke to what would you do if you had that power? You can get away with anything, people not see you. And how he kind of dove into that. So I really enjoyed those. I don't know if it was stand up to I tried to get my kids to watch it. They're not trying to watch anything that was made in the 2000s. So they didn't. But for me, I think those things still hold up. And they still have elements and storytelling and filmmaking that people kind of forget about in this day and age. And I tried to draw from some of those things in these movies and do some of those old techniques that they use instead of just doing things with CGI and stuff like that. So I pulled a lot from those old eras. But I do love, the Dracula. I love that stuff going on too. But that'll probably be my third from there. And then fourth will be Creatures from the Black Lagoon. And then fifth would be Wolfman. Yeah. I liked Creatures from Black Lagoon because that was kind of for one, I was fascinated back then that they had somebody in all that goddamn gear, costume swimming. That was dope. And I think Guillermo del Toro was supposed to. It was kind of like a love story, but you felt sorry for like a little fish man and all that. So
Yeah.
that was fascinating to me how they did that back in the day. You know what I mean? And then Wolfman was just, I just like Wolfman too. It was cool, but I think that's my ranking of when I fell in love with the most.
Yeah.
The storytelling and Dr. Jekyll and
Mr.
Frankenstein
Hyde.
to me is superior.
Yeah.
What did you think about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in the lead of Extraordinary Gentleman?
And which one? I'm sorry.
The lead of Extraordinary Gentleman. Did you see Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde together?
I like that movie a lot, and me and my business partner Jay, we joke about it. I don't think, what's the guy's name? The lead character liked being in it as much.
Sean Connery?
Sean Connery.
Yeah, I think he was kind of pissed. Sean Connery, I could think, thank you. Sean Connery was like, what the hell is this guy going around in this green costume? You can tell I don't think he had as much fun with the new school approach to all that. But I like the kind of almost superhero approach they took to it. He was a big hulking monster and all that.
Yeah.
That was cool for that era. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the Dorian Gray. I enjoyed what they did with the Invisible Man. So that was really fun for me. Yeah. It was kind of like a superhero take on the Universal monsters. Mm-hmm. It didn't necessarily have that scary feel to it, but it had a great adventure feel to it. To me, it's underrated. I liked it a lot more than the credit that I think it gets. It was a lot of fun to watch. I don't think Sean Connery liked that movie. I think he quit acting after that. I think his last major acting when he was like, "Fuck this." But I thought it was a really fun movie.
Yeah, that was his last acting gig, and I think he got into it with the director or whatever. He didn't like what was going on.
Yeah, I think after that and I heard him say something about he wasn't, this was just running with the direction that movies were taking. And I think he was more into the character-driven part with and he didn't like all the CGI spectacle of it. And it does. You saw that movie; it had a lot of spectacle, a lot of explosions, a lot of action running around. For someone who's done some of the work that he's done, I could see him being, a little pushed back by that. But if you look at it now, that's all you want to get. So if you don't want to be part of that, you don't want to be part of movies. But I mean, I've heard the argument before. I think Quentin Tarantino has said something about it, Martin Scorsese. So you're going to hear that the vibe. But I actually thought it was a pretty fun movie.
Yeah.
And the character, they did the characters pretty good.
It did. Yeah. What was your, I know you mentioned earlier the Dark Universe, but.
Right.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, what was your, because I know it didn't happen because the Mummy, didn't live up to its potential at the box office. And,
I did like Dracula, Untold. Is Dracula Untold? I'm bored. Whatever. I like that. I like where they were going with that. And I like the way the Mummy started. I think the problem with the Mummy is it couldn't find its tone. Like it started off like a horror movie, and then it kind of jumped into this like Tom Cruise comedy, and then it started being an action movie, and it kind of teetered between these three things and never really found its identity. And I think that's where it got lost, and it was too much to me relying on Tom Cruise personality. It was like watching Mission Impossible versus the Mummy. You know what I'm saying? It was like, he was pretty much playing the same character. It's like, you put Sam Jackson in, he was like, oh, okay, it's like that. But Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise in every movie to me. And I don't think that what he brings to movies, which not against him, but I think what he brought to the movie and what they were trying to do to it, they didn't figure out how to mesh all that together. But I did like Russell Crowe as Dr. Jekyll. Yeah, and I did like Sophia as the Mummy. I just didn't like what they did with it all together. That makes sense.
I think
makes a whole lot of sense.
Tom Cruise, by him being a superstar, that took away from the main.
And I think you guys. Sometimes with horror movies, A-lister, huge star isn't the road to go sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of times with horror movies work with no name stars because you don't know who's gonna make it, who's gonna survive. Right. But I guess they figure because you know who these major iconic characters are, you know what's gonna happen. You know these stories. And these stories don't really change that much. That's why I did like the remake of The Invisible Man.
Yeah, me too.
Because that story was way different than anything we'd ever seen before. Mm-hmm. And I loved how that story kind of tied into a real world issue. And I took inspiration from that because, that real world issue is what motivated the actual horror. And that's kind of what we did in EDYH. And shout out to my man PK Hooker, who was actually the sound engineer for The Invisible Man. And I talked to him a lot about EDYH, how to make some of that some of my stuff working today. He was talking about empty space and how to pull music in and out and all that. And he already helped me talk to me. So I love it. Like the sound design is really important with horror. Like if you don't get the sound right, you're gonna miss that crucial element that builds tension and all that kind of stuff.
That's true.
And I think the Invisible Man did a great job of that, of doing that.
Yeah, and the suspense
was there,
too
yes.
was really good because I was like, oh man, this woman don't. She thinks she might have a ghost in the house, and this is the dude is right there. It's like, I had me guessing like, no, he's right in front of you. All you gotta do is just reach. But you know, but going back to what you said about the Mummy, I think for me they should have started with just Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with Russell Crowe as a kickoff.
Yeah,
And just keep it hard.
Yes, especially the way they were going to, because it seemed like he was going to be kind of like the leader of the movement and all that. So his story could have worked. He would have been, I guess, Tony Stark or whatever. But I don't know. I think they was like Tom Cruise, Russell Crowe, who's the bigger draw. So they went with Tom Cruise and all that. But at the end of the day, you got to have a good story. And you got to have a good director. If you don't have a good story, you don't have a good director, you're screwed. You know what I'm saying? Because a good director can make a good story bad. I mean, even better. You know what I'm saying? Like a bad story, even better. Like what I'm saying, if you have like a mediocre story but a really good director, that director can pull it off. He can make it really good. But, and if a story is pretty bad and you have a good director, he can pull it off. But if the director is bad and the story is whatever the story is, they're going to screw your movie up. So if you have like a mediocre story and a mediocre director, then you just doomed. And I don't know who directed that movie, but I think for them, probably was the story more so than the director, because they were trying to do too much. And it just, for me, it felt like they couldn't find a tone. So I don't know who to blame for that, but somebody got to be blamed.
How you feel about that? Same with how I feel when you have dramatic directors who normally direct drama or suspense, trying to direct action. It's like, it's not the same.
Doesn't work.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
Some directors think they can do anything.
Yeah. It's like you treating this action like it's a drama with these normal shots that you're doing, these quick cuts. It's like it's not gonna work. You need to learn. It's a whole nother animal by itself, and just like, hence the Bourne movies, fight scenes. I'm sorry, they are bad.
No, you're right. They have to know and understand the genre. Like, if someone said Michael Bay was going to do, a Shakespeare, we like, I don't know if I want to see that. I don't know what that's going to be. If he's going to do a love story or a drama, you're like, is something going to blow up? Because like that's what he does. He blows shit up. So if it's not going to blow up, it's like, why did you choose Michael Bay? And I do understand, like, some directors, like, they try for different genres, and they could probably be good at maybe one or two, maybe three genres. But for the most part, directors are known for the genre they love the most, and that's kind of what they stick to. Yeah. Like, I like James Wan. He's a great horror director. And then he did Aquaman, which wasn't bad, but if you see Aquaman, the first one, it had a lot of horror in it. You saw the monsters and all that stuff that's going on. You still saw his roots coming out of that. So when you see those things going on, you're going to see the still roots. Like, you saw, like, Guillermo del Toro has done a lot of drama, but he still had, like, monsters in his drama, which is weird. Like, you see, like, a love story, but you got a love story about Creature from the Black Lagoon, because like they still have their roots and all that. So you got to kind of just know what you do and stick to that. Like me, I'm a horror guy. I do horror and I do comedy. I wouldn't be the best choice for a romantic, a romance movie.
Right.
Romantic comedy maybe, or a romantic horror movie when somebody can die, I could probably put that on. But if you want me to do a straightforward drama where nobody dies, no one tells a joke, that's going to be a struggle for me. Not saying that I couldn't do it, but I would be like, that's not my strongest suit. Yeah. And I think some people would just want to say they can do anything and not be honest with themselves.
No. The director from the John Wick films, he said, I think it's Chad, I forgot his last name, but he said it too. He said, if you want to learn how to do that stuff, if you want to do, he said you should take the time, just as equal the time to learn how to do film, like you said, film like comedy or film, to learn how to shoot suspense or drama. You should take that exact equal time and learn how to do action, and vice versa. He said, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think that's 100% right. Shout out to my friend Toya. She had directed a drama film that she wanted me to edit and do the sound design for. And admittedly, like I just told you guys, that's not my thing. So what I had to do, I spent a month. She got sick of me waiting for it, but I spent a month watching drama. I watched, the Last Man Holiday, the Best Man Holiday. I got sick of looking at that stuff because it's not my thing. But I watched it every day and learned as much as I can, so I can create the tone that she was looking for. Because otherwise,
Right.
like, I can't have suspenseful music and make a movie like a horror movie. It's not a horror movie. It's a drama. So what can I do to change this around? So I have to actually watch and learn, and not watch horror for a while, but watch romantic stuff to kind of figure out and understand her tone and how conversations with her about what she wants, what's the motivation. And it was a really good challenge to speak to what you were saying. It's like you have to learn it. You can't just think, oh, I can do anything, or you watch one or two movies and figure it out. It was really a great challenge for me because it was so far from my comfort zone to work on that.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice, man.
And what current projects are you got in the works that audience can, check out?
Like I said, right now we're currently filming a horror anthology. It's called Horrendous. It'll be coming. We'll be giving a sneak peek of that soon, but we're gonna be filming that for the rest of the year. And then we're also filming sketches for the second season of Creative Hustle.
Okay.
And the good thing about Creative Hustle is on our business from the Jay, right? His background is comedy. So I can lean on him for the comedy aspects of it. Whereas on horror, he can lean on me for that. So if you are gonna like dabble in different genres, find someone who does that. Because if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be messing around with comedy the way I do because I didn't have the lens for it. So shout out for him for that. But we're working on those two things right now. And then we're also in the process of figuring out a feature film. I personally haven't shot a feature yet. I've been on TV shows and series and all that. So I'm excited about doing my first feature. I just don't know what's it going to be yet. So we're looking at stories and ideas and talking to our team about what direction we want to go with that. But hopefully before the year is out, we'll be announcing what that feature is going to be.
Okay.
Nice, man. Be on the lookout for it.
Yeah,
Definitely be on the lookout for it.
Definitely gonna support whatever you got going on.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. I get you guys involved, man.
Oh yeah, we love to work with you. And if
It's
you
just
need
great
action,
seeing, people that look like me, they like horror. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
But in Chicago, I don't think it's many Black horror filmmakers. I'm not saying that there's not any, but there's not a lot. And now you can't just throw a rock and find one.
Right.
There's a lot that do like the hood stories and the dramas and all that kind of stuff. That's close to home, but you don't find a lot that's doing horror. So when I found you guys, I was like, oh, I found some brothers. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and it makes it so great because, we have other people, like we all got inspired by somebody, looking at their film, growing up, watching, and it just opens the door for other ethnicities and everything to come in and be inspired to make films and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you said, somebody say, "Oh, he looks just like me." Yeah, I can identify with that.
Yeah,
or they find out, "Oh, this was a Black person, or this was an Asian person, or a Latino person, or somebody from the Middle East, or who could be Israeli, Palestinian, from Saudi Arabia, making this film." Like, oh wow,
Yeah, I mean, it's almost cliche to say now, but representation matters. And we hear it all the time, but now it does matter. When you see somebody like you doing something that you may have thought about doing that didn't think was possible, it's inspirational. So it does matter.
Yeah, and and I want to ask you, do you consider yourself a filmmaker or a Black filmmaker? Since we on the topic.
I mean, I don't think you can avoid the Black part, whether you want to or not. Fortunately for me, I embrace it. So I let it bring on. But I know that people could probably look at anything I do. If they don't already just know from the style of it that it's Black, they'll see, they'll enjoy it. Like, oh, when they find out my name or see who I am, like, oh, he's Black. So you automatically become a Black whatever when they find out that you are Black.
Right.
That being said, I don't shy away from it. I don't beat nobody over the head with it. I'm not preaching with everything. And if you see EDYH, we do have socially conscious elements in that. It's not preachy. It's not on the forefront. It's just there because it's part of our Black experience.
Right.
But at the same time, I make movies for everyone to enjoy. I wouldn't say to you, if you're white, you're not gonna like my movie. If you're white and you're, sensitive to some of the things that happen to black people, you might be a little uncomfortable, but you're
Right.
not gonna not like my movie. You know what I mean? And the same thing, I don't stray away from any demographic or race, culture, creed, anything, religion, anything like that, because I think we're all people under this world working together. But at the same time, when you see me, you talk to me, you know who I am, and certain parts of the black experience they're gonna be in my film because I believe that's the genuine experience that I feel. Like I said to you guys, like I know I'm making a movie that people gonna look at that and yell at the screen because that's how we are. That's how we grew up. You know what I'm saying? We gonna have put that. So you put those things kind of into the culture of that, and you hope that people enjoy it. I think they can enjoy it. But that being said, I'm not here to preach to anybody. I do have my messages that I want to get out and my stories that I want to tell. But live your life and do your thing. But don't look at me because I'm trying to tell you one of my experience. Right. So I am a black man that's a filmmaker. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Right.
Because, like you said, when people look, and then the title will go on there anyway, like, oh, he's a black filmmaker.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because when they say, "Oh, you're a black filmmaker," like, what does that mean? Does that mean
You're just a filmmaker?
A certain type of you're not as good as a white filmmaker. You don't even hear a white filmmaker. You hear a filmmaker.
No, you don't.
And then it's like you hear a black filmmaker or Asian filmmaker or Latin filmmaker. It's only when you're not a white filmmaker that you hear. And actually, probably a white male filmmaker. They probably say a female. Oh, she's a female filmmaker. You know what I'm saying? The only people that don't get labeled in America, I should say, at least, is the white male. So anything other than a white male gets that preface for it, like a female filmmaker. Why does that matter?
I just
black. Why does it matter? Is it a good movie? But
I just like the surprise
that's the world we live
factor,
in.
Yeah, but it's just like we talk about James Gunn. He's a filmmaker, even though he's Asian. But most people would label him as an Asian filmmaker. But no,
Asian filmmaker, right?
A filmmaker.
And for me, he's a horror filmmaker. He's one of my favorite modern day horror filmmakers.
Mine too,
but that title to me is more about what he makes and less about who he is as ethnicity of a person or something like that. You know what I mean?
His art should speak more.
Yeah.
And
he's incredible. He's somebody I would like to shout out to James Wan to work with, And just like you and him, he and us, we make our films for everybody to enjoy. To inspire anybody and everybody. White, black, doesn't matter what color or your skin, But it's unfortunate.
The thing to remember is art is universal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, art imitates life and life imitates art.
Yeah.
So if you are an artist with a certain experience, putting that into your art form, it's going to reflect that. And people are going to be able to, probably identify with that. It should not be a qualifier to it's good or bad because of who you are as a person. It should be good or bad because it's good or bad. But we know that unfortunately in this world, we don't necessarily have that. So sometimes people make movies and don't tell anybody who made it. They don't tell anybody who it is. You don't see the name. Then they say, who do you think made this movie? And all that, what I'm saying, going on. And I've been fortunate enough to work with a pretty diverse cast. So I have lots of black people in there. I have white people in there. I have Latin, Asian, all kind of stuff to work with that. So we don't feel as though you only work with your people, or you only work with this person or that person, or you're afraid to work with your people. I've seen that too. Like I've known black directors who don't even work with black people. And they said toxic things like, oh, I can't work with my people. I'm like, why would you say something like that? I saw someone say, there are no serious women actors out there. Like, I don't, that's to me, those kind of things you just sit and say or do. I think you should work with everyone. I think as a director, they're going to take you, they're going to be as serious as you are. They're going to take you serious. If you motivate them and inspire them to be good, then they're going to be good. It's a team effort. I don't see it as my movie. I see it as our movie. So we're making it together. So in that regard, we have to kind of, work with all that kind of stuff. So, But, everybody's different. I'm not trying to say I'm better or worse than anybody. I'm just trying to say I'm making movies. That's all. That's the only thing you're going to get me to say. Because I'm making movies.
Yep.
It's all about what you love doing, man.
And that's what counts at the end of the day, too. You do it because you love it, and you do it because you want to entertain. Hence why I showed them a video of Zachary Levi talking about the recent Shazam. He was saying the same. It's kind of some of the same things. He said, look, if you like it, watch it. If you don't, that's fine. If you don't like me, that's fine. I love me. He said, the comment, we make this for you guys, and it's a fun family movie. And he was like he's saying before, comic books were created for fun. He said anybody who thinks comic book films and comic books should always be dark all the time, you are sadly mistaken.
Yeah. And I think sometimes people forget that what we're doing is entertainment.
Yeah.
So entertain people. Let them, be entertained with what's going on. It shouldn't always be dark or serious or scary or funny or all that. Be able to pull from all that, but stop taking yourself so damn serious. We're
Like
entertaining
Joker.
people, man.
Why
At the end
so
of the day,
serious?
it's the best job in the world. You getting paid, or you're out there creating. You playing pretend all day.
Yeah.
Give me a camera. You wearing costumes. You putting on makeup. You jumping around and screaming and yelling at a bunch of shit that ain't there.
Yep.
I'm happy to do that. You know what I'm saying? So that makes it fun for me. So when it's not fun, I'm gonna stop doing it. But for me, it's always fun.
Yep. And it should always be fun. And like you were saying, that the experience you was talking about, everybody had fun on set, and it should always be like that when making films, no matter what the genre. I mean, life has its problems. Anyway, we all have shit that we have to deal with, issues. Everybody has issues, as some people say. Everybody has issues. But to be on the set should not feel that. Like, we should be going to set feeling comfortable. Like Denzel Washington said, talking about pressure. He said, we're making a movie. That should not be pressure.
It's one of my favorite quotes, man. It's just that's just real,
And
my idea of a good movie. If we're laughing and having fun on set, I feel like the movie's gonna be good.
Yeah.
If we stressed out, freaking out, nobody's happy, then we're not making a good movie.
Right. No. It's like we all like I said, everybody has problems. Like, and here is the sanctuary that we go to, the set, the art that we are doing, what we love should take us away from that. And at the same time, a transfer, like you said, when you make a great film series, and when the audience watch it, it takes away what they dealing with too.
That's the point of them coming to see your movie. It's coming for an escapism.
Right. It's
they're
like
not coming to get more depressed than they were before they got there.
Right.
They're coming from some kind of release or some catharsis. And maybe you are making a drama that makes them relate and feel or whatever. But it's at the end of the day, they should feel a relief of tension. They should feel, in a better place than they were before they left.
Right.
Or you gave them something to profound and think about. But at the end of the day, we're here to entertain people, regardless of what genre you're creating.
Yep. 2 banks fell. 2 banks went into a financial crisis. That's pressure. Somebody of millions of people probably won't get all their money back or no money back.
Right.
They just probably lost their homes or houses or whatever. See, that's pressure.
Right.
Making movies should not be feeling that way.
Hey, you put it like that, yeah. It's like, what am I complaining about? I'm having fun. Like you said, I'm not dealing with that. I'm dealing with this. And like, the worst big problem is, this person getting their line right, do it again. And I come from a generation now, it's super easy. When I started making film, we used actual film.
Yes.
So if you screw it up, that film was gone. Nothing you could do about it. Now, you can just shoot it again, erase stuff, go over, stuff like that. You can use the same SD card and hard drives and stuff. That didn't happen back then. So people now, they're making movies on their cell phones. So the pressure of making a movie is a lot less than it was back in the day. And like you said, it's not even real pressure to begin with. So enjoy making movies. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
It should be something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah. It should be fun making pretend, making make believe. Always should be fun.
That's not saying that it's not hard. It is challenging. It's not anybody can't do it.
Right.
But if it's not fun, then something is wrong.
Right. I call it the good challenge, the good hard things.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather be dealing with that than be in so much debt. It's like, oh my God, I don't know where, I'd rather deal with this.
I take this challenge any day of the week.
Right. Me too. Like, for real. I'd rather take that challenge than have to be up 2 in the morning drinking 9 cups of coffee for finals and college.
Man.
Right. Yeah, we don't have a lot to complain about. The bottom line, not in this regard.
Yeah, man. So, yeah. So, we got anything else or any questions or any more?
No, not for me.
I'm just excited to see more of your work, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you. We are actually working really hard right now. We had a meeting earlier today about trying to get some of the stuff out there for people to see. I think that's one of the weird things about making movies is that people don't know how hard and how long it takes to make a movie. So they watch it, then like, okay, what else? When the next one coming out? You're like, oh man, you know, it took me a year to make this one. You want me to make another one
Don't
already?
know.
So now we're like, okay, we're gonna try to give people something to look at while we're making it because we're not gonna finish prior to the end of the year. So we're saying, okay, what can we give some of the people now that want to see it, something to look at and digest and kind of appreciate as we're going. And I think too, with the social media filmmakers, I think we talked about this before when I met you guys last time, that they make movies, or they make, the cell phone film. It's a viable market to make movies, content, I should say.
Yeah.
It's not the same as filmmaking that we do. But
Right.
people see a skit on Instagram. They think they can put these things out every single day, and they think that everybody can make movies that fast. And we can't. We don't do it that way because it's a whole different craft. So they've gotten used to instant gratification and tons of content flooding their way. Where you look at, like, for us, make a movie takes months.
Yep.
Maybe even weeks, depending on how big your project is. It can take weeks, it can take months. Even if it could take days, we wouldn't be able to put it out as fast as someone who's doing on their cell phone and putting stuff out every single day.
Yeah.
So they got used to that. Like, oh, that's dope. When the next one coming out? Like, you know how long it took me to make this one? It's gonna be a while. But we want to try to meet that demand and strike while the iron is hot. So we are trying to put something out. Hopefully, by the summer, the people can kind of see what we're working on and what's going on with that. And I think people on social media all the time try to get their feedback on what kind of things they want to see from us, what kind of genres of horror that they like, what kind of comedy they like, what's things that they're into. And I'm taking that feedback and kind of putting it into this anthology so we can kind of see that, yeah, we heard y'all kind of a part of making this movie with us, and we're going to show them some of the stuff. So we're trying to, I'm not a social media savvy person. I suck at it, but I'm trying to engage as much as I can and give people something to do while they wait for us, because you're right, you don't want to have waiting all day. And unfortunately, and you guys can attest to this too, they don't care how long it takes you to make it. You popular, you gotta be there. And if you miss your opportunity, you miss your window. So you can't just say, hey, wait 6 months till the next one come out, because then move on to something else. So we gotta keep things going, give them something to work with, and give them snippets, give them trailers, give them something. So we constantly try to put stuff out there. So I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but like, you got something in the next couple of weeks just to keep things going, keep the interest going.
Cool. Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, I have a horror question for you.
Okay.
In your opinion, what makes a horror movie scary?
Wow. That is probably the best question I've ever heard, because people laugh at me because I am, and I think every horror person says this, so I don't want to sound cliche, but for me, I am really hard to scare. Like, because I got scared at age 6 and I was terrified, it's like doing crack. I've been chasing that for the rest of my life, trying to get scared. I'm like, what's gonna scare me? And it's not that. But that being said, I do know when something is scary and when it's good. It may not, freak me out or like, that's good. But I think what makes horror movies scary is if it has a good story and it's character driven and you believe and you're buying into the people. Like, for instance, like, you look at slasher movies, which I love slasher movies, but once like Friday the 13th, you looking at Friday the 13th for like 8, 9, 10, you don't care about them people. You already know that, they're gonna die. All you want to see is you start rooting for the bad guy. How many ways is Jason gonna hit somebody? He's gonna kill somebody with a sleeping bag like he did. What is he gonna do? You start buying into that. And those become fun in a campy way. But you're not, last time you've been afraid of a Friday the 13th movie, probably not since the first or second, the first 3, because you didn't know what was happening, but you still like them. Something that actually scares you. Like, for instance, when Blair Witch first came out, people thought it was real.
Yes.
It really terrified people. But now found footage, people laugh because they know it's not real no more. So you can't saturate it and do that. But an original story and people that can really dive and embed into it, and then the tension, you gotta be able to build tension. I think people use jump scares too much. They make you jump. You get exhausted from that. It's not scary, you're just jumping. Being startled, not the same as being scared. People understand that. Like, you can startle anybody. A loud noise make anybody jump. That don't mean they're scared. They just mean you shook them a little bit. But to have someone, really, but to have someone like afraid to go in their house, or like that dark hallway is freaking me out now because like Hereditary. So how you guys seen Hereditary? I watched Hereditary the first time and I was like, I didn't get what everybody was talking about because they were saying it's one of the scariest movies ever made. I didn't get it, but then I watched it again and I just really paid attention to what they were doing and how they used negative space and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, this is good. It didn't freak me out, but I'm like, this is good, and I see why it's freaking people out. But like with sound design, I think sound is a big thing with horror. Like if you don't get your sound right, it's not going to work. But the sound and knowing when to use the right sound, when to use the right music, when to use nothing, emptiness, like quiet is scary. You know what I'm saying? Quiet is scary. Empty space is scary. Darkness is scary. Making people wait, those things are like really scary. You're tying all that in, but you got to have somebody that can sell that. You know, so just someone screaming and getting cut in half, as fun as it is to watch, is not necessarily scary. Like I absolutely love Terrifier and Terrifier 2. Those were some of my favorite movies. Terrifier 2 last year, but it wasn't scary to me. But X was fascinating to me. I loved X last year.
X was good.
That because it had that tension, it had that stuff. Barbarian was scary to me last year because you went down, you didn't know what was going to happen. Smile has some great moments, and they weren't the most gory movies. So I think horror and fear and gore are not the same thing. You can enjoy gore, but that's not the same as scaring somebody. The best horror movie to me from last year was X and Pearl, and they weren't gory movies, but they had this atmosphere about them. So I guess the answer is atmosphere. Atmosphere is what makes movies scary. When you feel uncomfortable, or when you can relate, or even if you go back to like Final Destination, I think it was like 3 or 4. Whenever you're on the expressway and you see that log,
The log, yeah.
I'm like,
pile up.
nope.
right? You're like, nah, bro, I'm not doing it. That was a great moment of fear and terror because that's lingering. That's
Or the
anytime
roller
you get
coaster.
lingering, remember your stuff. That's you scared somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Get out the way.
Right. So that's what to me is I have that. Fear is a lingering feeling versus that jump scare, which is just for that quick moment when you're gone. The fear is a lingering feeling. Like you have that tension. People are talking about it when it's over. They still have that. And that to me is just like, it's all in a direction in the character, being character driven.
Well, I tell you, one film director who got people terrified is right here. What I'm pointing to.
Les? Yes. That's one of my favorite.
Because you gotta go to sleep. Yeah, it's like you gotta go to sleep. Everybody has to sleep. It's like
I think that's one of my Nightmare on Elm Street. The original one was one of my favorite movies of all time because, like you said, there's no escaping sleep. And when I remember being a killer, how do you not go to sleep? And how do you not dream? So that was like one of the few moments that was like that. That is actually terrifying for people. I mean, after a while, Freddy became a caricature of himself. He became a comedy and all that. But that first one was really scary because you didn't know what you were dealing with. You didn't know how you were going to resolve that. Everyone has to go to sleep. And we know whether you want to go to sleep or not, you're going to go to sleep. So that was one of the most terrifying concepts ever. I love that, actually. Like, Friday the 13th is scary, but black folks, we don't go to the woods that much. We don't, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jaws was cool, but Jaws don't scare us. We're not going to go mess with those sharks. Like,
we're not about to get in the water.
Man, we good off of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But something where you can't escape
sleep.
it no matter who you are, that's really scary.
Yeah. And what, like you said, also is the build up to, like Nightmare on Elm Street. It's like, dang, it's getting close to bedtime. Like, I don't fucking want to go.
Yeah, like Nightmare on Elm Street was so good. As soon as it get dark, it was like, oh shit, what's gonna happen now? Nothing happens yet. It's just dark, but you're like, oh, here it comes. You know what I'm saying?
Which makes
that was
relate.
brilliant to me. That's one of the best ones ever done.
Yeah, which makes it relate. Like, dang, I see why people drink a lot of coffee. I see people like staying up. Like, this is probably the best times to have insomnia.
Yeah. That was a classic, man. I think it's underrated because what Freddy became over the other episodes. I think it's underrated, but the original one was brilliant. And then that scene in a school when the girl was in a body bag and the blood. Yeah. That lingered with me for what I was a terrifying scene, and that was fun to watch. Like, I think that movie was fun in so many different ways because the first time you seen that pool of blood shooting out of the bed, or the kid getting on the ceiling, flopping around, getting cut up, like he did so many innovative things, and those things stick with you. Yeah. That movie was a masterpiece to me. I think it was one of the best ones. That The Shining. It's a couple of them that's great, you know what I'm saying? But they, when they stick with you, you remember those scenes. That's when you know you got something
I
special.
think as a kid too, the opening scene of Nightmare on Elm Street 2 on the school bus.
Yeah, that was dope.
That was dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wes probably has some of the best horror movies, like the whole Scream franchise. The ones he did. I like Scream 4 a lot more. People think it was pretty good. The first one was brilliant.
Was good.
Did you guys like the new one that just came out?
Didn't see it yet.
I saw
did.
it.
I saw it.
I like it.
I did it.
Yeah,
I like
I
it.
thought it was fun.
The reason
You know what I'm saying?
that I like it because he used to him using a knife. Not to give nothing away, but I'm pretty sure he saw that on the trailer.
Yeah.
That he picked up a gun.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
never seen ghosts with a gun.
Ghostface, yeah.
Yeah.
In open area in a big city.
Yeah.
To be
I
bold
like the
like
fact
that.
if you can still have a slasher with a knife, like you said, and still make a 2-hour movie that's entertaining, that's impressive. And I think they did a good job of, switching some things around, doing some things differently. They kind of changed how he moved, how he got down, how he killed. So they kept it fun. Now you're doing a part 7. I don't know if I want to see all that, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. But I am probably the most excited for this year is Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because again, that trailer looks scary. It lingers with you.
does.
You see what they're doing and how they're going a different direction. Again, like Scream did. They're taking it, out of the woods and into the city and doing different stuff. But that's one of my favorite trailers of the year because it lingers. You're like, ooh, can't wait to see what they're gonna do. I'm hoping and praying that this is the one that scares me after all these years. We'll see what happens, but I am super excited about seeing it because it just looks different.
Yeah.
It's not an original movie, but it looks different than what we've seen before.
Yeah. I think anything close to reality, like you said, the atmosphere, we talk about Nightmare on Elm Street, because all these are so close to reality. It's like people have to sleep. Or like you said, like what coming to Evil Dead, that looks, I can't wait to check it out because it's like, we talked about this on our episodes, the supernatural. Me and being a man of faith, it's like I dealt with stuff like that, and it's not pleasant. It's scary. It's scary. It's like, okay, I'd rather see Jason cut somebody's heads off. I know that's fake. Yeah. But being,
right. That's what my wife said. She like, Jason never scared her, but The Conjuring, all that supernatural stuff terrifies her. Cause she like, that's real to me. You know what I'm saying? And again, our people, we are spiritual people. So when you start talking about supernatural things and spirituality, funny story, we're doing one of the films we were shooting. I actually had some supernatural stuff in it. So I had to have a talk with the staff beforehand, like, hey, look, talk to your ancestors because we about to do some stuff. You uncomfortable with that? Let's talk about it now because that's so big in our culture. Like we're gonna talk about supernatural stuff, spirits and all that. Some people are really freaked out by that, so we have to address that. Even though they read the script and all that, I want to make sure they understood that. And but it's dope. But I think that's also why Jordan Peele was so dope. Get Out. Is because we looked at that like that's horrible. That's scary to us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what made that movie work because it wasn't gory. There wasn't a lot of jump scares. There wasn't a lot of stuff going on. There wasn't even a lot of kills in the movie. But the whole tension of what was happening to that person and one of those people, that was terrifying to us. And that's what made that movie work.
Also, Candyman. Was terrifying.
Candyman is, again, one of my favorite movies of all time, especially the original one, because what that story was telling. And then how it was so different than the typical just horror movie. It's about this black dude in Cabrini Green and how the projects are, pretty much the same building structures as the white people. They getting treated one way or another way. And how he was treated wrong because it was a brilliant story all the way around. And then on top of that, now you got this dude with this killing people. So that movie it had so much texture to it. And it resonated with that. Yeah. And being from Chicago, you really connected to that movie.
And location played a big part.
What I also love about it is that when he does come to her, it's like almost he's not just hypnotized. It's like a romantic things like I looked and like is he in love with her? I guess it does remind us of his white lover that he was going to marry and stuff back in slavery time. I'm like he's like not just putting his vampire Jack Webb on her. He's just like
and props to like Tony Todd. I don't think people know, but Tony Todd is like Shakespearean trained.
Yeah,
So people
he
don't
is.
know how powerful of an actor he is, but he's playing this horror role. And I think horror a lot of times gets the shaft because you don't have a best horror movie. You don't have that in the Oscars. You're not, they never get nominated. If they do, they try to say it's not a horror, it's a thriller. If you look at some of the most iconic characters in film or in the world, they come from horror. Like everyone knows who Freddy is, who Jason is. You do that, know it. That come from Psycho. Whether you see it or not, you know where it comes from. So
Yep.
horror creates some of the biggest and greatest icons of all time,
Jamie Lee
but
Curtis.
doesn't get the respect that it deserves.
It
You know what I
does.
mean?
Not
So
at all.
And you're right. Tony Todd is Shakespearean trained. Also,
Mm-hmm.
Robert Englund is Shakespearean trained. And you can tell
Yeah.
they use they Shakespearean training both for Candyman and for Freddy Krueger. And
yeah,
if you actually pay attention, those who study Shakespeare, like me, from the theater, like me, you will see it too if you actually watch how they move and how they
and they're very
use it.
physical. Yeah, they're very physical actors. You can see it in their emotions and how they move and stuff like that. It's like that. But people underestimate. I think it's a horror movie. Oh, it's just some stupid hokey stuff. But that training is what make them characters come through. And Candyman and Freddy Krueger are icons. Everyone knows them and loves them. And that performance, that training that they put into that paid off.
Yeah, it really did.
So you can't just have anybody, and you guys seen it. They grab any old Joe or they friend. Let's make a horror movie, and then somebody don't know how to throw a punch, don't know how to stab, and it just looks stupid. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot that goes into making a convincing horror movie.
That's true.
Making a convincing villain and like making a villain actually scary. And just putting a knife in somebody's hand and putting a mask on doesn't make them scary.
No.
Like if you look at like Jason, like I think Kane Hodder is one of the best Jasons he's been for a while, but the way he portrayed him, the way he moved, the way he took to his head, his physicality is what made the dude scary. So he didn't even have any roles to play. He don't even talk. But Michael Myers is another person. You know what I'm saying? Like they're scary for just their presence, and that's great acting. And they don't get credit for that kind of stuff.
That's true. They don't.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting if they had Michael Myers versus Jason, because there won't be no dialogue.
There's some fan films on YouTube that I saw with that, and they are really fun movies to watch, man. I can't think of the name of it right now, but they're like the Michael versus Jason. Like you said, no dialogue. They just beating the crap out of each other for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I seen that too.
Yeah, it's like pornography for horror makers. We just, oh my God, look at this.
Yeah, that's right. It's like they need to make this into a real film.
Right. It's probably gonna suck at the real film because I did not like Freddy versus Jason. That was so stupid.
No,
I thought that it could have been great, but I think that it just, I don't know. I didn't like how they played Jason. You know what I mean? I think Freddy was Freddy. You expect from Freddy, but I think Jason got kind of the short end of the stick when they put the fear into it. And I guess you have to do that with the nightmares and all that, but I don't know, man. I didn't like it. I know a lot of people hate me for saying that. I wasn't a fan. I did not like the movie. I was like,
I know the build.
it just got stupid. I think it could have been done so much better. We can't do it now because it's just too late, but I think that was a missed opportunity.
No,
What you got?
I enjoyed it.
Same here. The build-up took forever because that was the 90s.
Yeah.
Jason went to hell. And
I think maybe that's what it was for me. It like took 10, 15 years for it to actually happen.
Because it was in
And then
development.
it was just an okay movie. It wasn't a bad movie. It was just like, for 15 years is what I get,
I don't know. For me, it was different because my experience was different going to see that. Because I remember I was with my Aunt Kim, and we was at the 87 movie theater on Chatham, the 87. Man, it was packed. It was like I was like in the front row, looking up. It was that packed, and people was going out of their minds because soon they got to fighting. It was like, yeah, get him, Jason.
Too iconic.
Right,
Too iconic.
That nostalgic, feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
Two iconic
yeah.
killers.
And I did not have that experience. I saw that shit at home. Like no one was into
saw
that. So I was the only
bootleg.
one watching it. They like, what is this bullshit we gotta be watching? I'm like, shut up! I'm trying to watch the movie. So by the time it went off, I was with them, like, yeah, whatever, it was okay.
See, if you probably went to the theater, you probably had a different feeling.
You're right, and I think people are, and it's a gift and a curse that we have. I love streaming services. Of course, I do. Because they got Tubi in my movie, so that's how I'm making my money. So I'm happy with it. But I also love the fact that we always do a premiere on the big screen because some things just need to be having that big screen experience. to be seen with a bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? If you got a big screen TV at home in a theater, bring your friends around. Some movies are best watched in a group. You know what I mean? And some movies you can watch by yourself. Some movies are not really well to watch as a group because everybody's talking, you might miss some stuff. But I think movie theaters are struggling right now because of the streaming service and that the social camaraderie and community of going to a theater is struggling right now. And I think, going to the movies was a fun experience to have, especially when we were kids, because you didn't get a chance to go all the time. Like you said, when you saw that, it sounded like a fun time for you. Like I said, I saw it with a regular TV and nobody wanted to watch it but me. It was a whole different experience. But sometimes having that dark room, that surround sound, that big screen, that makes for a better movie.
Yeah, it does. And I think the pandemic just didn't. It really hit the movie.
The pandemic hurt
hard.
so much with the film, and it helped us because the streaming became really popular.
Yeah.
And for indie guys, this is how we make it now because we don't get a chance to just make a movie and then go straight to the big screen. That doesn't happen for us. So streaming is our bloodline. So I will always love and appreciate it, but I also love trying to get our movies on the big screen for the premieres or limited theatrical runs and stuff like that. Just having ways for people to experience it in different ways as possible. Because as much as now I watch movies all the time on streaming, I still go to the theater. Like last year, I saw all the major horror movies in the movie theater by myself because my wife wouldn't go with me. But I was sitting in the theaters by myself. I saw everything. I saw X, Barbarian Pearl, Black Phone, Smile, all the good ones. I watched everything by myself because I wanted to have that whole big experience from watching it. So the only thing I saw last year with someone was Scream 5. My wife went to see that. And I knew after that she wasn't going to see the rest of them. So the rest of the time I went to myself. But just having that experience and being in there, it's just still fun to do, man.
It does.
Yeah, it is. It's nothing but an experience.
It's that's why I love the movies. That's why I was like Freddy versus Jason. I will never ever forget that memory. That was
You know what I'm gonna do just because of you, man? I'm gonna go down to my home theater, get a bunch of my friends. We're gonna play Freddy vs. Jason, and I hope that they like it.
Okay.
Like, why are you watching this old ass movie? I want to try to recreate what you had and have that experience, man. Because that just seems that's fun, and that's a fun way to watch movies. And for me, for the most part, nowadays, unless I'm going with my business partner, 9 times out of 10, if I'm watching a horror movie, I'm watching it by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know about that experience, and I did not know because I thought it was just white people going to the movies dressing up as their favorite characters. And it was like, this is not even Halloween. And I did see black people dressing up as Freddy, dressing up as Jason, having props, knives, and finger knives in the theaters. And not just adults, children. And that blew me away. I'm like, oh, that broke my whole, color. Because, this is 2003. I'm like still a teenager. I'm just graduate. I'm going into my senior year when the movie came out. So I'm like not really stuck on, I'm stuck on the South Side, not really expand. I'm starting to, thanks to Jimmy, because my friend Jimmy put me on, rock and roll and have me listen to Evanescence, just expanding my range in music.
That's impressive back then, yeah. Because now it's much more common, but for 2003, that's impressive, yeah.
Yeah, and when I saw it, I'm like, oh, wow, it's not just white, it's black too, and fans, hardcore fans. Okay.
Yeah,
and that got me even though I hype. I'm like, this gonna be good as movie.
Come on now. How could you not enjoy that? You got people dressed up like Freddy and Jason and having this screaming. That's like watching the prize fight. That's like among Mayweather or something. That sounds like fun. Like I didn't have that. I had me and my TV and people didn't want to watch shit.
Hey, I'm gonna take it back.
Okay.
They had two iconic characters. They had demonic toys versus the Puppet Masters. I think that was actually filmed in the 80s.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not see that. You can find that. Send me that. I would check that out. I haven't seen that before.
I've never seen
There's not enough horror crossovers in my opinion. You don't get to see a lot of stuff like that. I would definitely watch that. I would love to see the little monster from Trilogy of Terror. beat the
Yeah.
shit out of Chucky. I would pay money to see. To
Yeah.
drop all my coins and watch that, man. I would love to see something like that.
That dog
But like
scared the hell
now,
out of me.
cosplay is really popular with black
Very.
people.
They have
the
conventions.
blurry community, as they call it, and all that. So you see a lot more, and I think that's great. I think that helps keep what we do as horror fans alive, because again, you see a lot of horror monsters. They iconic people being cosplay, and again, what other genre other than the superhero genre has so many iconic characters to dress up as?
Right. It's
You
the
you
horror
could
genre.
think of like. But people don't get the credit for that kind of stuff. But that's, we make the market of Halloween. You dressing up is going to be a superhero or a horror movie person. Period. You know what I mean?
Doll Man. Remember that?
Yeah.
Little man with the little gun.
You know what? You know what would be a cool movie to see?
What?
Talking about versus Invasion of the Body Snatchers versus Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I would see that.
Let it be camera in your head. Let me know y'all some creative dudes. Because who thinks of those two things? I want to see that match. That's insane, man. But I would watch it. I would
be
definitely
insane.
watch it. I would definitely watch it. That's hilarious.
So where Omar, where can the fans can find you at?
You can find me on Instagram. That's the only thing I really have right now, and that is BLE_cinema. And please go on there. I need friends. My page is kind of pathetic because I don't understand social media. So if you can go on there, like it and follow me, I get that going on. But yeah, that's where you can find me, BLE_cinema on Instagram.
And you
And
can
that's where you
check
put all
out.
the information about the movies that's coming out and everything that's going on.
Yes, so go to his page, follow, like, and also his films that he has on Tubi.
Run those
Check
numbers
him
up.
out.
So that's Creative Hustle, that's on Tubi, and that's EDYH, that's on Tubi. Do not try to ask me how to pronounce EDYH because you can't. So it's just EDYH. And once you watch it, you'll figure out what that actually means.
Right.
So you want to know what that means, go to Tubi and check that out. And check out Creative Hustle on Tubi. They came out the same day. So I'm really proud of that. Not many filmmakers could say they had two films come out on the same day. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
I didn't plan it that way. It just kind of happened that way. I'm happy about it.
That's
Nice.
cool, man.
So check out both. They are both great.
Yes.
And he's an amazing filmmaker. He got great stuff coming up. We can't wait, and we looking forward to working with you.
Yes, sir.
as well.
Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to it. And thank you guys for having me. I really love what you guys do, and I love your work. Looking forward to working with you. And again, looking forward to doing an interview with actual, genuine horror fans. We can really talk and understand each other.
course,
So I
yes.
appreciate you guys having me on
Let's
here.
make it happen.
This is great.
Yes.
We can do it anytime, man.
Yes, and you can follow us on Instagram, which is trio_3_horror. You can also check us out on TikTok, which is trio_of_horror. You can check us out, like and subscribe, and comment on our YouTube channel, which is Trio Blood Podcast, and follow us also on Facebook
Spotify.
and Spotify
Give us 5 stars.
and iHeartRadio,
Yes.
Amazon Music. Soon we're gonna have
That's
to be on
everywhere. That's what's
iTunes.
up.
Everywhere.
That's right. Until then, this is Trio Blood signing off.
Yes, sir.
If you don't go to sleep, I'm gonna bite you.